We got Ryan and Billy, Johnny Garbett, and who's with us? But the Frantics this morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, John.
Good morning.
How are we doing, guys?
You're in disembodied voice this morning.
Well, that's exactly what I am. And really, we don't need to hear from you, Peter. We hear from you daily.
Fine.
So really, this is a three-man operation we got going here today. Peter Wildman, who works, although most of us would use that word very, very liberally, in our creative department at Q107 and The Edge and 640 Toronto. Paul Chatto, Dan Redican, and Rick Green. Good morning to the Frantics. Good to have you in here, fellas. But you guys have all been doing your own thing, having success outside of the Frantics, and then all of a sudden we open up the newspapers in the last little while and start to read stories about you guys getting back together. Why?
Why not?
Okay.
Why do you open the
This is gonna
newspaper?
go well.
Or why are we getting back together? We're getting back together. The reason really was...
Yes, the reason, Rick. The reason we're getting back together.
Yes, tell us, Rick.
Here's Rick to tell you the reason, because we know that it's not like we just got back together without thinking about
Guys,
it.
I
We know
don't
the
know.
reason. Rick's going to
Tell
tell
us
you.
it's the coin. We're fine with that.
No, Paul called and said, how can we get on the air and talk with Derringer? And I said, I don't know. Either we take hostages or we get the Frantics back together. And then we just, we didn't have enough weaponry, so we went with the Frantics getting back together.
I would have taken hostages myself.
I feel like one right now.
Okay, let's go back to the very beginning here then. 4 young men, all funny guys, and we're talking back in the heart of late 1979 into the early 1980s. And one of the things that I have noticed, and I suspect that you guys have too, and you may be too darn humble to admit this, but I think you guys have had a really nice influence on an entire generation of Canadian comics. That's got to feel good.
Yeah.
It does. It was fantastic on Monday to be able to play to a full house after, that kind of a break too. It really makes you feel good that that you can screw that many people
for their money. It was just,
Yeah.
And the Ayatollah Khomeini jokes were just as timely as they were 30 years ago. It was, you guys get them. It was edgy.
So tell us, how did it go when you first got back together? I mean, what was the deal?
Well, when it was like falling back into an old groove. It was just a bunch of, we just started goofing around and started having fun again. It was like no time had gone by at all. We still kind of hated each other exactly the same way.
Yeah.
But there's still the same sort of feelings and fun and
camaraderie.
Yeah.
I think what was good about
Are
it.
we looking at this as something that is going to last some time? Because often this happens. And after a couple of times, you know what? Now I know why I couldn't stand that guy.
The moment we got back together again, rather than just reusing all the old material, we started writing brand new material, which is both good and stupid because we could have just rested on our
Lawyers.
Lawyers.
On our lawyers. Yeah.
That's how big we are, John.
We can rest on lawyers.
And I've gotten my lawyer quite chubby. He's very comfy.
And we could have just done hours and hours of our old material, but we were dumb enough to want to write new stuff.
And we couldn't remember the old stuff.
Well, there's
The
that.
other-
There is that.
Was that us? So it was very neat because there was some of the old stuff just made us laugh just as hard as it did back then, and then to be able to write brand new stuff and make each other laugh the same way was great. It was great. It's like,
How much and anyone feel free to answer this, but how much has comedy changed in the last 30 years?
Well, I think we're the only people left doing sketch.
No, I think comedy is pretty much a constant. I think that there's when we were doing it, we were looking for something that was sort of fresh and new, and there's people still trying to, you're always trying to do it, and you're always sort of coasting over what's come before you and what's going to go after. There's lots of troops out there doing stuff. I do notice that the one thing sometimes when we'd listen to an old sketch and we were being quite euphemistic. And that now just the gloves are off in terms of a lot of the things that you can say that like we got in huge trouble years ago for calling a character a dork, and with huge trouble for that. Like we got that. We broke that radio silence on the word dork.
We broke the dork barrier.
Yeah.
it's funny though because although there's like language and topics and stuff you just did not make jokes about years ago. I mean, we closed our show Monday night on a skit about a bunch of guys on a cell train and one getting a phone call from his daughter who's having her first period. And first of all, none of us had daughters back then and hadn't been through that experience. But it was, we would not have gone there at all 30 years ago.
And I would agree. I think that is certainly one of the bigger changes. What was the audience like? I mean, you get a great sense of how much anticipation there is, and I think we've all been in front of audiences where you go, ooh, this isn't happening. But I would suspect after this type of break that the people who were there to see on Monday were pretty darn excited about it.
We turned away about 100 people at the door. It was quite
Always
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was fantastic. It was.
It was great. The great thing about a Frantic audience is when you look out at the house as you're performing, you see 20-year-olds and the university crowd, and then you see the young parents bringing their 12 or 13-year-old kids. And then you see a row of blue hairs from the local
Which
seniors.
is us.
And
which is
so we really cover the whole gamut in terms of gender and age. I mean, we seem to appeal to a lot of free thinkers out there, I think.
How are you finding it easy coming up with the tunes these days there, Buck Staghorn?
Absolutely. I have one for you now if you want it.
Yeah, well, we have Peter Wildman. You've heard Peter's voice on the program a number of times. He is the...
You said too much.
Well,
Now you're getting all polite.
come on, you're not supposed to bring in the conversations with the lawyers, Peter. That was supposed to be privileged stuff. But
Sorry, John,
Peter
continue.
does a number of our parody songs. He's a very, very funny guy, and we've always had a soft spot for the Frantics, as are so many Torontonians and Canadians very excited about the reunion. What are you guys going to play for us this morning?
This is a sea shanty, and it's about a place all men want to sail to. So I'll just leave it at that, shall I? Can you pick that up okay? Okay, here we go. We're four landlubbers and each has a rubber. We're off to a distant shore. We'll travel light and go by night. We've been this way before. We'll round ahead and then to bed. Hope we don't run aground. We'll hoist a drink, our tankards clink. We're all vagina bound. Vagina bound, let's batten down. We'll cross the main tonight. With memories grand of mammary glands, we'll sail the passage tight. The wind is fair, it steers us there straight for the pubic mound. With flowers bought and fingers crossed, we're all vagina bound. We've sailed through seas of apologies and waves of attitude and shallow reefs of deep beliefs that she's not in the mood. But when her headland heaves in view, just watch my mainmast grow. The boy in the rigging is done with friggin', he hollers, "There she blows!" Vagina bound, let's batten down, we'll cross the main tonight. Discard your flannel, we'll sail your channel, we'll push with all our might. We're 2/3 pissed, but through the mist we hear the wild surf pound. We've poured the rum, let's see some bum, we're all vagina bound. We've poured the rum, let's see some bum, we're all vagina bound.
Yes, we are all vagina bound. And I got to tell you, it must have been.
That's the first time you've said that on the radio.
It must have been a great moment when one of the four of you realized that vagina bound and pubic mound rhyme. I got to tell you guys, that is the first time I've ever heard a song that featured the words pubic and mound together.
Thank you.
Very, very strong. So what's up next for the Frantics, guys? What do you have going on now? Or you don't hate each other so much after Monday that you're not speaking because you're all in the same room together?
Well, the show is actually a reason to launch our new CD, Frantic Noises, of which that song is a part of, and we're now doing a publicity campaign across the country to promote Frantic Noises. So go onto iTunes and or go to thefrantics.com and order a copy of Frantic Noises.
No, and what about the CBC gig?
Which one?
I thought there was a CBC TV gig.
Really?
That's what
Thank you. Oh, John, this means so much.
That is great.
Oh,
I thought there was a CBC TV gig that turned into a CBC radio gig.
no,
No?
but
Okay.
that's great. That'd be great.
Yeah. Make a phone call for us, would you please?
Well, hey, don't worry about it. Most of the CBC executives listen to our program anyway, so I'm sure they'll hear all about this.
We'd
Guys,
like to do a lifestyle show, by the way.
thanks a lot for coming in today.
Hey,
We-
thanks for
we
having us, John.
it.
Appreciate it.
No, no problem. Peter, you're a good man. Great to see you around. And fellas, Rick and Dan and Paul, thank you very much. We appreciate you guys dropping by. And all the best in the future for the Frantic.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, John.
Okay,
Take care,
guys.